Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for the inaugural video of the First Atheist President YouTube channel. And my name is Tim. For anyone that doesn't know me, I do run a different channel called Harmonic Atheist, where I interview people to share their stories. I was a Christian for 43 years, and I did fully deconvert from Christianity in 2019 after a long and arduous 3-year study of the origins of Christianity. And in that process, my mindset and worldview just changed radically, to the point that I have learned that we have been seeing the world we live in and our culture and our nation in an entirely wrong way. And that really needs to change if we want to give our kids and the next generations a better chance at a beautiful life than we have had. And I'm seeing in our culture immense issues that I would love to be a part of solving some of them and helping be part of the discussion. But my main platform, and just to give context, I'm not looking to be the atheist president anytime soon, because number one, no one knows me at this point. But I would love to imagine, running in 8 or 12 years. So I'd be looking at 2032, 2036, give or take, and who knows, maybe later than that. But I'm looking in the meantime to build this channel up to the point that we begin some serious discussions and say, simply, it is time for an atheist president. It is time for the top leaders of our country to be people who look at mythology, such as Christianity and Islam and other religions, and say, those are not true reality. And we do not want those mythologies to be influencing the most important parts of our government and of how our country runs. That it is a scary thing, truly scary to me, to think that the people that have the most important weapons at their disposal and the most important abilities to make decisions that affect so many of us, that those people are steeped in mythology, that they're going to have it in their back pocket, the nuclear codes, or they're going to have the ability to strike their gavel and make decisions for our entire country. And that Sunday they're going to ingest bread and wine and call it the body and blood of Christ. The idea of the cannibalism that's involved in that, which is just so disgusting, but just the idea that that is all real and that has to really give you the background for how you make your decisions as a government employee and as someone that is trying to steer our government in the right direction. It's beyond horrific to me to think that that's what's happening. It's been what's happening. It's happened for decades, at this point, centuries, and it's absolutely disgusting that it's still part of what we're dealing with. We deserve better. Our country deserves better at this point. We've been through so much, and we deserve a future without mythology driving our decisions at all. And even not even necessarily just driving, but as the backdrop to them. So many of the decisions that we see being made, even if they're not directly linked to the Bible or to other holy books or to all kinds of ideologies out there, we can kind of sense that the people that are running these things are either directly motivated by those worldviews, or they're pandering to the people who are pushing those worldviews. Maybe they're funded by those people. And you get to a point where you just say, this can't continue. This is so sick, especially when you look at some of the people who are pushing not just the desire to have a biblical morality as the rule of law, or Muslim morality, or Sharia reality as their rule of law, but that they're actually saying that they're bringing to the table an apocalyptic perspective, that they know that Jesus is coming back soon. He's going to take over, or he's going to rapture all of the Christians and everyone else is going to go through the tribulation. The idea that somebody would have an apocalyptic mindset, or that they would come to the topic such as climate change and say, it doesn't matter, God's going to blow it up anyway and start over. The idea that that's even an option for someone at the highest levels of government to be subscribing to that and making decisions for millions and billions of us, and saying, for us to say, like, look, this is crazy. We're better than mythology. We're better than Christianity. We're better than the false morality that it's brought to us. We're better than the ways that it has treated immigrants, the way that it has treated so many parts of our society, so many people who are underrepresented and misrepresented, and just people trying to embrace the reality of who they really are. And Christianity comes up and condemns them left and right. And even some branches of Christianity say, we'd like to put you all in prison or worse. I want to push an agenda that says we're better than that. We're better than all this stuff. We really are. But in some ways, for us to get to a point where we move past some of the worst parts of our worldview history, our religious history, we have to have somewhat of a radical change. And I'm not talking about radical in the sense of some kind of overnight everything changes, but a radical change in the sense that there's never been an atheist president. And arguably, there might have been some, and they just pandered to the Christians, and they knew that they would be crucified if they were honest about it. But to have people who come out honestly and say, we must do better than this, and I don't subscribe to any of that. The body and blood of Christ has nothing to do with reality, and the idea of genital mutilation for children and cutting off the end of little boys' penises, that has nothing to do with reality or healthiness. The idea that we would listen to this book from the Bronze Age era is just crazy. It's truly crazy that we're even considering using these books as our model and our guide. After all the progress that our society's made, we're truly shooting ourselves in the foot. We're so scared. We're scared as a society as to what happens when you remove this opiate of the masses. What happens when you take away these crutches? How do people survive without a meaning, hope, and purpose that's derived right from this holy book, and without a drive to say, if I do this here on earth, I'll be given rewards in heaven. When you take that away, what happens to society? And I think people keep asking that question, but they don't really ever give it a chance. And they're not really truly giving rationality a chance. They're not truly giving science a chance. They're not truly giving peace a chance, because you have this warrior God, this God who says, I'm going to come back in flaming fire, my eyes, swords coming out of my mouth. I'm here to take over. And that's what they're thinking about their savior. This apocalypticism is horrific, that it drives their thinking and their decision making. We're better than this, and I am looking to slowly get myself prepared that if the chips fall, and of course they'll fall where they may, and this channel may just be more of a way to talk about these ideas, but there's still that what if. What if there could be an atheist president? What if it could be me? What if it could be someone of my generation, at least? What if there could be a way to fast forward and to move our society to a point where rationality is ruling in a much greater way? I would like to be the first atheist president, or I'd like to at least support those efforts, because we need that. Our society needs that. We're sick. It's like we're sitting at home, picturesquely sitting at home, just getting sicker and sicker. And there's so much good help. There's hospitals that will send an ambulance, and we just say, well, I'm just going to take some of this really, low level medicine. And like, you've got really serious issues, but there's doctors that can help you. And you just keep on pushing it aside. Well, if I drink enough water, I'll be okay. No, you're really sick. Water's great, but you need something more. You need real treatment. And we can give it to you. We can help you. Our society's in that mode. We're just kind of all sitting at home thinking, if we keep drinking this water, or to mix metaphors, we're drinking the Kool-Aid thinking it'll all be okay. And it's not going to be okay. We need to actively move this society forward. And that means getting people at the highest levels of government that say, we will make our decisions based on what's best for the people, based on science and, again, rationality, but leaving the mythology aside. There's no part of us that panders to that. There's no part of us that says, I need to go to the pastors of this land and listen to them and say, what's on your heart for the future of our society? No, you all have had more than enough time to do something good, and you have ruined our country, in my opinion. You have done exponential damage. It's time for the pastors to sit back, and if they want to keep doing their thing privately, that's fine. We don't need pastors in the public eye. We need people who are focused on science and rationality, who are done with the mythology, truly done with it. There will no doubt be some really good discussions with Christians, and we certainly want to take everyone's opinions into account. But at the end of the day, the way that this really should, in my opinion, play out is that the people who are choosing to walk away from mythology, who don't have that as a driving factor, who are not looking at the afterlife and the rewards of heaven, or the fear of hell, or the fact that their savior is coming back on a white horse to take over, those are ancient tales that deserve to be long buried, and they're part of perhaps the time frame when we all heard other fairy tales and other mythologies. But it's time for that to be done in terms of the decision makers for our land. If you're with me on that, if you agree with that, if you think, yeah, that's true, we really have done our generation and the future generations to come, at least the next couple, we've done them a great disservice by continuing to perpetuate the mythology as okay for our leaders. It's just not. It's really not. And I love thinking and dreaming about the future that we could have if we just take the leap that says we can think about this differently. And our society is ready, or at least ready for the first early steps of non-believers, people who are not affected at all by mythology, at least in their current chosen worldview, that those are the people who stand up and be counted and say, I will give my one life that I've got, not my afterlife. I'll give my one life in every way to serve this country, to serve my community, and to say that like we can do better. You deserve better. Your society deserves better. But we're so stuck in this stuff because of religion. Religion has had certain times when it's perhaps arguably helped things here or there. But at this point, in my opinion, it's much more of a detractor from our success. It's much more, has a crippling effect to our mentalities. And it's time. It's high time to move on from it. So, what I would ask for those of you that are willing to support me in this is, of course, number one, to share this channel, share videos, especially the ones that you like, but also to reach out to me with comments or email, whatever. Reach out to me and say, you know what, if you're going to do this, and if there's any chance that this actually, as much as it's a long shot today, here in March, April of 2024, it's a long shot today. But you know what? As this progresses, you actually might have a real shot at this. I will need your help to say, Tim, there's topics you need to get much more educated on, much more prepared for, that if this does actually cross to a point where you're in the actual arena of the discussions to say, is Tim and the people that he would surround himself with, are they viable candidates and the best candidates for the presidency of the United States and so forth, that I need to be prepared, that you would say, Tim, this is what you need to do. I want that. I want your feedback. I want to get educated on the topics, everything from refugees and immigrant issues to healthcare, to poverty, all the above, everything that you would say is critical to an atheist president thriving and succeeding on day one, getting in that office and saying, I've got a plan. I'm not looking to be in that office for 8 to 12 years. So I've got some time. But when the day comes that hopefully becomes a real option, and I know it's like, well, it's pie in the sky, you'll never get there. Who knows? You never know. But I'm going to dream bigger than big. And if I reach for the stars and only get to the moon, that's still pretty far. But I'm reaching for the stars and beyond. I'm reaching for galaxies beyond. And I'll do my best. At least it starts the discussion. You got to start somewhere. But help me get prepared. Send me articles to read, send me things to think about. Get this discussion going. But we need an atheist president badly. So thank you. Thank you for those of you that are going to become part of my support team, cheering these discussions on, maybe cheering me personally on, but cheering at least these discussions on. How do we get atheism to be the norm at the top levels of government? How do we take mythology away and say, this just cannot be? You cannot be in power if you subscribe to blood magic. You just can't. This is insane. This is insanity. We are drinking poison as a society. This has to stop. Has to. Our kids deserve more. The next generations deserve more. Let's leave this planet way better than we found it. Way better. It's going to start with some changes, some big changes. It's also going to change, I think, a lot of the ways that we see our world. I think I've got a much more global perspective, which I'll talk about more in future videos. But we want a global perspective. It isn't just about the United States of America. We have a planet to protect. Everything from obviously asteroids and from climate change, from pandemics, from wars that we start. But we need to change the way that we see humanity and change the way that we see this planet radically, to be much more involved with the poor, to be much more involved with changing our society to be civilized. The idea that people can just kind of drown out in sickness and in poverty and kids can go without food for years and no one's doing anything about it just doesn't make sense. So if you can forward to me the topics that you think are important and I'll start doing research, send me articles, send me anything that you want to. Let's get this discussion going. And if you like what I come up with, share this channel. Let's get to the point where in 2032 or 2036, everyone's like, yeah, in 2024, this probably wasn't going to be an option. But you know what? 8 to 12 years have passed and a lot's changed since then. Let's get this party started. We're ready for an atheist president. I need your help. I need your help to put that on blast. And let's do it. Our kids deserve so much better than what we've been given. They really do. I have 4 beautiful children at the time of this recording. Their ages are between 4 and 9. And as they age, I want them to have more hope than ever that they can change this world for good, to make it more beautiful, more compassionate, and more safe, more amazing, more access to good things for everybody, not just those who have this or that advantage. And certainly to think that our society is getting away from some of the most barbaric aspects of what we used to believe and how we used to treat each other. It's time. It's time. So let's do this. So thank you all for listening. This is, again, the First Atheist President YouTube channel. Let's see what we can do. Let's shoot for the stars. And I appreciate your help. Thanks so much. Have a great day.